Wow, what a show we have for you tonight. Our guest is multi-talented and has quite the resume and is one of the most influential men in the red suit. School creator and instructor, innovator, mentor, actor, community servant, and the list goes on, including Santa Claus Hall of Fame inductee class of 2011. I'm Santa Bob McMasters, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live show for August 9th, 2022. Please stay with us. We have a lot more coming up with our special guest, Santa Tim Connaghan. This is Tuesday Night Live. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And as we always do at this point, let's bring in my co-host, the funny and full of mischief, Mr. Spangle.
Hello! So good to be back.
Well, what time did you get home?
I got home about 1 o'clock today from Maps up in Michigan.
Wow, long trip, but I know you had a great time. I'm sure you're a little bit tired, but hang with us tonight because we got a great show coming up here. All right, if you will, at this time, please say hello to the Tuesday Night Live show producer, Mrs. Angela Mack, over in the comment.
Angela!
Well, guys, I'm so glad to be in the month of August because our guest list is stellar, and I'm so looking forward to each week within this month of great guests and shows to come. This week of the Tuesday Night Live show is our week 32 in season 2, and we have another great show in our Christmas bag for all our friends watching tonight. Just a reminder, all of our live shows are recorded for your convenience and can be seen on YouTube and Facebook at The Tuesday Night Live Show. If you visit, drop us a comment. Don't forget to give us a like, share, and please subscribe to our channel. The first half of the Tuesday Night Live Show's trivia is sponsored by Derek Dugan, Sleigh Driver Apparel Company. We want to say thank you to Derek, and we'll do this here. All right, so tonight's trivia question is, and get your fingers ready, Frank Baum not only wrote the book, The Wizard of Oz, but he also wrote a book about Santa. What is the name of that book? Frank Baum not only wrote a book about The Wizard of Oz, but also wrote a book about Santa. What is the name of that book? And our guest tonight, Tim, said he was pleased to see that particular trivia question. He thought that was a great question to have, and I agree with him 100%. So while you guys are checking that out, trying to come up with the correct answer, and as always, if you've won in the last 30 days, you're in timeout. That's considered the Scott Parker rule. And put in your answers into the comment box. Towards the end of the show, we will reveal the correct answer to this and the other trivia questions, and maybe by that time we'll have a clear-cut winner. If so, we'll announce that at that time also. All right, Angela.
The first half of tonight's Tuesday Night Live show is brought to you by Derek Dugan's Sleigh Driver Apparel Company. You can find Derek's store on Etsy.com/shop/sleighDriverApparel or contact Derek Dugan for all your custom apparel needs. Now back to our show with Bob Spangle and Angela. This is Tuesday Night Live.
All right. Shall we get this ball rolling here, huh?
Let's go.
Our special guest tonight has done more for the red suit in his 53 years of service to the community. Can you imagine that? 53 years. has been a mentor and inspiration while becoming one of the world's most prolific Santas. As an entrepreneur, he has built an extensive network of services and information for the professional Santas and Mrs. Blasey. Please welcome to the Tuesday Night Live Show 2011 Hall of Famer, Mr. Tim Connaghan.
Hello, Tim.
Senator Bob and Mr. Spangle, or sometimes I like.
We're so glad to have you here. It is such an honor to call you mentor and to have you on the show. As I was speaking to you in the green room, you've done anything and everything there is to do. So for you to come on our show is quite an honor. So let's get started. For you, your story is a long list of successes, and I've learned so much from you. So let's get starting. Let's start off in the beginning. In 1969, your first appearance was in a GI camp during Vietnam era, and you was asked to pass out the mail to your fellow GIs. This is such a great story. So, and you tell this in class, I know, but can you pick it up from there and tell us the story of your first appearance as Santa?
Well, 69, the village of Binh Phu in Phouc, about 60 miles south of Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City now. And one of my one of the other soldiers put on a bearded shaving cream and sat down in a folding chair to help hand out Christmas mail. And so we all got to sit on his lap and get pictures taken so we could send home later. By the way, our families wouldn't see the pictures probably for a couple of months because it took that long to get the film developed, get it home. But about 15 minutes into his performance, that beard started melting and falling away. So I threw up shaving cream and traded places with him. And so that was my first actual experience of being Santa Claus. Little did I know that a year later, I would be home out of the service, working for a department store in a maintenance and operations department, doing work before I went to college classes. I worked in the store from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., then went to classes. And I was asked to sit in for Santa for 3 days. It ended up being 3 years that I was there, Santa, Bullock's department store out in Lakewood, California. This was a subdivision of Macy's. So I had quite a nice experience there, only being 21 years old.
Yeah, wow. That's such a great story. I love that story.
Well, Tim, we just got to thank you for your service to the community. A 53-year career in the red suit is hard to fathom for many of us. In the early years following coming home from Nam, other than that department store, how did your career evolve, and what did you learn in the first few years as far as your positives, and what are the few negatives that you had?
Back in 1970 is when the first year of actually wearing the red suit at the department store. And it was their suit. They gave it to me, their beard and a wig set that I wore. And the basic training was a single sheet of paper with some do's and don'ts. Don't chew gum, don't smoke, don't promise anything. That's kind of like, the basics. But, many of us kind of reluctant thing the first time you put a chair or volunteer or a center or a children's group or something like that, and you put the suit on, you go into the room and you're nervous and you don't know what's going to happen, and then the magic happens. The children create the magic. They in their mind if it's a temporary beard, that disappears. It's a real beard. Even if we have some ladies out there, by the way, that are that are Santa Claus, and they dress up and they go in, and the children don't know. The children create all the magic and fantasy in their minds. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And from that, I did learn a lot of things, because the kids start asking you questions, and you've got to come up with answers. And that's where it's like on-the-job training. I teach it in my school. There's more to than just sitting in the chair. I mean, you can learn a lot from books, I've written my book. Gordon Bailey's written, I think, 5 books now, and other people have written training books. Then there are multiple Santa schools out there now that you can go to in addition to mine, and you can learn a lot. But 90% of what we learn is when we sit down in that chair and I start talking with the children.
Yeah, I think that's when that chair becomes the hot seat.
Very true. And I know that we've discussed this before, but back when you guys got started, for you so many years ago, there was no internet Google that you could go to and Google questions. You just had to learn by the seat of your pants, and that's where the chair time was so valuable.
Well, he said he had one page, and now there's thousands and thousands of pages out there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, anyways,
Thousands
on your
pages.
timeline of starting out to be Santa, how long were you a traditional beard before you started growing your real beard?
Well, I did those first 3 years of the department store, and then I graduated from college and went off into regular employment. But I always had a Santa suit. My mom helped me make a suit, which was my own suit, and I got my own beard and wig set. And every Christmas, I would be Santa for friends, family, sometimes for the companies I would work for, or some charities that I was working with, things like that. But and I like to mention that from the time I was in high school, through my military training, and then all the different jobs I had until around 2000, 2002, all those different jobs that I had, I think was God's way of training me for where I am now. There's something I learned from each type of job or employment that I had that have helped me evolve into what I am doing now, and being Santa, teaching Santas, and all the programs and things that I do. And so it makes it kind of unique. So 30 years wearing the theatrical beard. That was your question. So after the Bullocks, 3 years, another 27 years of little volunteer things. And then right around 2000, I started growing the beard. And that was actually after seeing Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. If you remember that, with Robin Leach, and he had a Santa in New York, and he was driving around in a limousine and doing photo shoots with pretty models. And the Santa, by the way, was Brady White out of Rhode Island, another Hall of Fame Santa. And Robin Leach said, "This Santa makes $1,000 a day." And, that big smile on my face, I'm thinking, wow. And I got this kind of pain in my ribs, and it was my wife's elbow. She was kind of giving me a little nudge, and she said, "Hey, when you retire, I'll let you do that." So it was around 2000 I started growing the real beard and becoming a professional Santa, working, in the industry as we are today.
So I have a question for you, Tim. Do you still have that first suit that your mother helped you make from your beginnings, and or any of your traditional hair and beard sets? If not, have you donated any to a cause like a museum?
I have 3 of my brothers. By the way, I'm the oldest of 11. I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters. 3 of my brothers have followed. One of them actually followed me at Bullocks in being Santa, and 2 others do volunteer work at Santa's. And I gave one of them my my beard and wig set, and he was able to get Santa Tom up in Boston, Tom Sharon, to help style it and fix it up for him. My Santa suit that my mother helped me make, I still have that, although I loaned it out one time to someone with the highway patrol, and they put it on one of their guys, and he kind of flexed a little bit, and all of that old velvet just shredded in the back. So it's been patched a little bit, so I still have it, but it's not something I can wear regularly. I just keep it for the memento. And it was not lined. It was just a very inexpensive velvet we bought at a yardage shop, and put it all together. But it like it says, it has sentimental value.
Oh yeah, personally, I would love to see it put into the Hall of Fame as a in a class case. You know how they did Elvis, some of his stuff, but that would be super cool. Spangle.
I remember
I've been.
we were sitting. I'm sorry. I remember we were
Go
sitting
ahead,
in the
Spangle.
theater in Branson one time, and I was going through things on my phone, and they showed a picture of you in your real beard, but they were advertising Chinese fake beards. If you remember that.
Yes, I think it is. What is it? Alibaba or what the Chinese uh,
Yeah, one of
internet?
those companies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but yeah. In other words, buy this nice uh, Krylon or synthetic hair beard, and you'll look just like Santa Tim.
Yeah, but
And I think that picture is still out there.
it probably is.
Something. By the way, one of the unique things about having likeness on the internet, I have had my face show up, and many other Santas too, had their faces show up on other bodies. I mean, of course, sometimes I don't complain, especially when it's on Hulk Hogan's body.
I could probably use my face on a different body from time to time. Hey, anyways, you founded the International University of Santa Claus, the school for Santas, back in 2003. Since that time, you have presented to
Yes.
almost 5,000 diplomas to Santas and Mrs. Clauses all over the U.S. and the world. Share with us on how you took the concept of the idea of having a traveling school and made it a reality. Talk about your first class a little bit too, maybe.
Okay. Before we went on the air, we were talking a little bit, and I mentioned some of my mentors, and Thurston James and Dick Christie and Harry Evans and people like that. Santas that I met in Los Angeles over 20 some years ago, when the original AORBS group had started, and I'd gone to some of their meetings and met some of them, and we would share ideas at the once a year luncheon. And then I, of course, got into pushing the uh, Tom Tom Hartsfield, who was the founder, pushing him to have allow me to have a picnic in July for all the Santas, and we started having other events and expanding. And that's when we also found the internet, and we started connecting with each other, emails and things like that. But the unique thing was one of the Santas, Dick Christie, started writing a book about becoming Santa, and he asked different members of the club to contribute chapters for the book. Write something. So what I did is I wrote my chapters on some of the techniques that we have to use in working with the families and the children and things like that. So mine were more where some of the guys just wrote down a list of 50 questions kids might ask, and somebody else wrote little stories of his experiences with the children. And I got done writing mine. It kind of got me going, so I continued writing, and kind of like Gordon. Gordon writes and writes and writes. Santa Gordon. So I was writing, and I ended up writing a whole book, and I presented it to a couple of the Santas, and they looked at it and they read it, and they said, "Wow, they said this is better than any school that we've ever heard of or anything. This is everything. You should teach this." So that was 2002. And in 2003, this summer, I put together the picnic for the Santas. But what I also did the day before the picnic was I hosted a one-day school. I rented an auditorium at USC, University of Southern California, and I called the school the International University of Santa Claus. And I did that because somebody actually had already copyrighted University of Santa Claus back in the 60s. So I couldn't use that, so I made mine international. And as a nickname, it was School for Santas. But we had about 60 people attend the school. Very, very nice. The media came. It was just a fantastic experience. In fact, Santa Gordon was at that first school, and he was one of the vendors. He had a lot of the clothing and wardrobes and things that he was working with at that time. And so we had a great time. And here's the unique part. The class was held in the School of Gerontology. So here we were, all these long, white-haired, white-bearded guys, and some of the ladies, and it's the School of Gerontology, but we were doing Santa Claus. So that started the first school. I got a call a couple days later. I was asked to go to it, and somebody read about it in a newspaper story that had gotten on the wire services and said, "Hey, we got a bunch of Santas down here in Atlanta. Can you come to Atlanta?" And it was Gary Casey, and Gary said, "Can you come to Atlanta?" So I set it up, and in August, a month later, I went to Atlanta and taught the school there. And that started me on the idea of traveling around teaching the school, as versus Charles W. Howard, which is one weekend a year up in Michigan, or Susan Mesco's, was one weekend in Denver. Victor Nevada was one weekend up in Calgary. I would go to I would go to the Santas instead of having the Santas come to me. And look where we are. Like you said, it's over 4,800 diplomas presented so far, and by the end of the summer, we might touch 5,000.
Wow, it's very good.
I'm on that list too. So, yeah, very good.
Both of you, yes.
Yes, I've gotten a few.
So, Tim, in addition to your live schools, you also have training, 22 hours to be precise. It's been recorded and produced into MP4 files. I think you have even taken it to thumb drives now, haven't you?
Yeah, what we've done is originally I'd had a good friend of mine, Greg Stavish, had helped me record my school live out in California at a couple locations. And we had those on DVDs for many years. And then I worked with Christmas Dreams, an organization in Orlando. And I taught my school there in 2017. And they live streamed my school. We did this free of charge to everybody to watch for 3 days. I live streamed all my training. And when it was over, we had that all recorded. We converted it to MP4 files. And that, of course, became what I now offer as a home study course. By the way, we just recorded a new session just last month. So we may have some updated files in the future. But the unique thing about this is that we've had 600 people take this type of training. So it's really been fantastic. And now what's really unique is, as of the Houston school, which we did just last month, we had a special student, Charles Graves, who is a deaf Santa. And a documentary was being produced about Charles. And one of the producers, Anthony Mole, worked on the project, and he took the DVDs, not DVDs, the thumb drive and all the pre-recorded files, and had them closed captioned. So now the entire school is available closed captioned, and we should hopefully have it available for anyone who wants to get a closed caption copy of the training. We'll have that available shortly.
So the new advanced session that you came out with is called Making the Moment. Is that correct?
Making the Moment. Yeah, that was I added that also back around 2017. And what that is more and more today than ever before, we're being asked to create special moments with our photos. Before, for years, it's been cheese, just smile at the camera, go cheese. But, with everybody taking selfies and trying to come up with different poses and action and things like that, people want more in their photos than just sitting there smiling and looking at the camera. So I have been working with some people, and we sat down and we working with a lot of different models and families. Took a lot of photos and put it all together, and tried to create some additional training. So beyond the regular work of Santa, this is all about posing and making that moment with the family very, very, very special. And one of the techniques that I promote in that is the yeah technique. And it sounds kind of crazy to say yeah, but you remember probably from the convention in 2016 where we're sitting in Branson with a couple hundred Santas at the shoreline to get a picture, trying to get everybody to smile at the same time and look at the camera. And it's easier to have everybody going, yeah, and we get a different type of smile than everybody going cheese or everybody going Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, where the mouths are all going different timing. Everybody with that is great. And it's what the professional photographers do with the models and the fashion work and things like that. If you look at a brochure, say from Princess Cruises or one of the advertising agencies that sends you a brochure for something, you'll see some seniors sitting around, doing something, and they all have that kind of smile, but their mouth is open just a teeny bit, like a yeah. And that's what I try to teach. That makes those pictures best. They're the poses with babies and some of the other Santas have shown us great pictures. What you can do. When you got a boa constrictor circling around your head, it's not just, can you make a face of some sort that really makes the picture funny or special or whatever, besides being scared, So we try to do different things. So we cover a lot of that in the book.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can look at almost any Santa gathering, and when they do the group photos, everybody's mouth is. And that's because of the technique that you taught in your class for so many years. So if folks wanted to get a copy of your live school on MP4 and or your books, Making the Moment and Behind the Red Suit, where would they go about finding that?
Oh, I get to do a commercial? I'd love to.
Yes, you bet.
My website, very simple, is schoolforsantas.com. And that's SCHOOL, the number 4, santas.com. Or you can spell out 4, FOR, either one. It goes to that website. And on that website, I have all of my school information about the live schools. I have information about the special schools that we do on the cruises. And then I also have, of course, the home study program, all that information there. Also information about other things we do with Santa's, my Santa's wardrobe, information there for people who are looking to buy Santa suits and other items like that. I have links. I have a download link, which has a list of things that you can download, copies of contracts and other things that we talk about in the school. But, instead of just giving you a sheet in the book, which you might have to scan and copy, why not just give you the actual Word document or the actual Excel spreadsheet that you can actually just download and have all those available.
Fantastic. It's hard to believe that we're halfway through the show here already. Seems like we just got started. But at this point, we always take a little short breather for a product announcement, special product announcement. So stay with us. We're going to come back on the other side of this and do the Showstopper special. That can only mean one thing. Stop the show. It's time for the Tuesday Night Live Showstopper Special. This week's StuffForSanta.com Showstopper Special. We go straight over to the head clown at large and in charge, Mr. Clown.
Hello. Hey, we had these glasses in silver for a long, long time. And so many people were asking, hey, can you get them in gold? Hey, we listened to you. We got them. They come in 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and 3.5. These are actual readers. They fit a big head like mine. Great. Anyways, you go to the website, StuffForSanta.com. Go on there and order them. They're $30. And what we're going to do is these boxes, eyeglass boxes. Beautiful. These are normally $20, but if you go on the website, order you a pair of glasses and put in there, I want the block Santa, I want the Santa belt, I want the Believe, I want the Mrs., or I want the script Santa. You tell us which one you want. We're going to put your glasses in one of these and ship it to you. You pay for the glasses, we're going to give you the box. Protect your investment. StuffForSanta.com. Nice gold readers. Beautiful. Plays the part Santa really, really well. Oh.
You're losing it, Spangle. You're losing it. You're beginning to. Oh well, never mind. All right. So, fantastic. Everyone, reach out. That special will be good through next Monday. So take advantage of that. Can't beat that $20 case. If you got a set of glasses, fantastic. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You are watching Tuesday Night Live with Bob Spangle and Angela. The second half of tonight's show is brought to you by StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com, where you can find everything you need for your Santa and Mrs. Claus professional business. Remember, if Spangle ain't got it, you just don't need it because it must not exist. So contact Spangle today for all your red suit accessories and more. And be sure and tell everyone where you got all that really cool stuff. Now back to our show with Bob, Angela, and, of course, more Spangle with trivia fun.
Oh my gosh. This week's trivia, and I know the answer to this one. Papa Elf told Buddy his mother's name and showed him a picture. What was Buddy the Elf's mother's name? That's easy. It was Mom. Hello? Like, people ain't going to know it's not Mom. Okay, Papa Elf told Buddy his mother's name and showed him a picture. What was Buddy the Elf's mother's name? And I guess the answer is not Mom.
No, we're looking for her real name in the movie there. So again, throw in your answers. First one with the timestamp in the system will be the winner, and we'll let you know that and the answer to that and the other trivia question towards the end of the show. All right, well, back to the show now. In case you tell the story of how 18 years ago you had was handpicked by Hollywood's original honorary Mayor Johnny Grant to be the Santa for the Hollywood Christmas Parade. And this is another one of those stories in class that I just absolutely love. You will be honoring the parade's official charity, the Toys for Tot Foundation. Can you tell us that story, Tim?
Well, I'm going to go back more than 18 years and actually go back about 55, 56 years. When I was in high school, a group of us from high school and again in college, we were singers. So we, a little quartet, sang all kinds of stuff. And we volunteered to do the Arthritis Telethon in Los Angeles. And Johnny Grant, who was the vice president of community relations for KTLA, Golden West Broadcasters, worked for Gene Autry. Johnny ran the telethon, and this was a great telethon in Los Angeles. I mean, Bob Hope and all kinds of people would come out. And we went on and sang, and I got to meet Johnny Grant. Later, when I was in Vietnam, he knew I was in Vietnam. He made a point when he came to my base camp to search me out and say hi to me. He was really a nice guy. And years later, after my work as Santa with Bullocks, and I graduated from college, I went into broadcasting for a short while. And then I went into fundraising, working with the March of Dimes, the American Cancer Society, a little bit with muscular dystrophy as a volunteer. And I would produce events in Los Angeles and throughout California. And sometimes I needed extra help, publicity through the radio and TV stations. And Johnny was with Golden West Broadcasters, and he always helped me out with getting some of my doctors and other people on one of his talk shows, one of his community relations talk shows. And so I had a good relationship with him. Little did I think about the fact that years later I would be Santa Claus, with this real beard, belonged to a group in Los Angeles. We had at that time maybe about 100 Santas in Southern California, real bearded. And Johnny, in addition to everything else he did, was also honorary mayor of Hollywood, created the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, restored the Hollywood sign, was a retired brigadier general in the California National Guard, and executive producer of the Hollywood Christmas Parade. So I went to him and I said, hey, you need a real bearded Santa in that parade. And unfortunately, he wasn't in control totally, could not just pick the Santa. He had to go with what the Chamber of Commerce wanted, and they were pretty tight on it. But after 3 years of connecting with him, and one of the gentlemen, Bill Lomas, who I knew through the JCs, and Bill and I were in the JCs together for many years. Bill was the gentleman who got the floats and the cars and the equestrians and the marching bands for the parades. So anyway, I went to them and talked to him, and Johnny said, well, I told him I'm going to put my own guy in the parade this year, and I picked this young kid I knew from Vietnam, and he gave me the job. The volunteer job, and again, the reason it's volunteer is there's a line. Believe me, if I were to walk away right now, there would be a line out the door of people wanting that job, because it is a very notable position to be the Santa for this parade. And so I got to do the parade, and the official charity of the parade is the Marine Corps, Toys for Tots, which began in the Los Angeles, in Hollywood in 1946. And that was where they had the first toy drives. And that's where the charity is honored every year, and the parade is the official charity. And so I became the Santa for the Marine Corps, Toys for Tots. I mean, I volunteered for them. But after a couple of years, they kind of nicknamed me their National Santa, because I would volunteer to go to Quantico and help them get pictures for their websites and advertising and marketing. But all of my own dime. I had nothing for the Marines at all. And it just became a wonderful partnership. This year is the 75th anniversary of the Marine Corps, Toys for Tots. It's also my 75th year on this God's earth. So I'm very proud to be their Santa, their National Santa for their campaign. And by the way, on your trivia questions, there's one other 75th anniversary this year, and that's the movie Miracle on 34th Street. So some neat things going on this year, but I'll be doing the 18th. My 18th year in the parade, this coming the Sunday following Thanksgiving, and then it'll be they no longer do it live. It's filmed, and it will be about 2 weeks later. I believe it'll be on the CW, and so we'll have it out there then.
That is super cool. I know that you now volunteer year-round for the United States Marine Corps Reserves as the National Santa and for Toys for Tots. You being a veteran, and again, thank you for your service and all those veterans out there for their service. It's got to be such a, I know that it means a lot to you as a veteran and of the armed forces to be such an important part of the Toys for Tots programs.
It is. And by the way, I also, for all of the Santas out there who are watching tonight or viewing this later when it plays back, one of the things why I became kind of their National Santa is I try to network all the Santas and Mrs. Claus that have been to my school. If any of the Marine Corps campaigns needs a Santa for something, they've got my number. They call me, and then I try to find someone locally to volunteer and help them out. And if you're a Santa or Mrs. Claus and want to volunteer in your local area, you can go to the Toys for Tots website, which is toysfortots.org. Find your local campaign. There's usually an email address there for the local coordinator. Drop them a note. Tell them you'd like to try to help out, if possible, when and wherever.
That's true. And I guess it was the year after I took your school so many years ago that I was chosen as one of the select ones here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And for me, my main role that I've done was I put together a toy drive and did some home visits where the people from that was appearing or coming to the home visit brought toys to donate to the Toys for Tots, and then went and turned that in at our local Fox TV affiliate. That's also part of the Toys for Tots here in the DFW area. Absolutely love doing that. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah,
Great
we
work.
have quite a group of Sanders that do this, especially some of the collection drives, the drive-through campaigns in San Diego, Qualcomm Stadium, or in New York, out on Long Island at the stadium there, where they work with the Rangers and other people, and these car clubs bring out all their cars and stuff like that, and they collect thousands and thousands of toys. You know, we stuff a bus, stuff a van, stuff a 40-foot trailer filled with toys. And that's why the Toys R Us, I mean, Toys for Tots is so successful. By the way, another thing about them, their fundraising and their work and everything, they operate on less than 3%. 97% of any money or anything that comes in goes to toys and goes to the campaign. It does not go in anybody's pocket. You know, it's just one of the most fantastic charities around. Where else could you find any type of corporation run on 3%?
Yeah, a tip for those out there watching, I included or got my high school alumni group involved, and they helped me collect the toys, and it was so much fun. Like I said, and it was really an honor to be able to help. Only done it that one year, then I started at them all the next year and didn't have the time to do it anymore. Spankle?
All right. So, Tim, so many guys have aspirations of acting in movies, films, TV shows, appearing in commercials, advertising, and promotions, as well as appearing on stage. You personally have experienced all of these accomplishments. What advice would you give anyone who's wanting to audition for any of these kind of positions or jobs?
Well, I thank the good Lord for all the things that He's helped me learn in my life that have given me the opportunity to do all of these things. Part of it is also location, location, location. Most of the commercials and film work, the big stuff, is done out of Los Angeles, a little bit out of New York, but mostly Los Angeles. So, and I'm no longer based in LA. I'm now live in South Carolina, so I don't get that many calls that way. But I've been around long enough and my name is out there. So a lot of times I just get the calls direct, that somebody wants me to do something or do something special. But you can start locally with your local cable company. You can, but you have to have a little bit of comfort in getting out there and doing stuff. I always recommend, take a community theater class, or try to take a comedy class where you learn how to do a little comedy and things like that. By having that type of comfort level, makes it a lot easier to move into doing some of these things. And again, there are guys and gals out there that I know that they've got more talent in their little finger than I do. I mean, really, there's some great actors and personalities out there within our community. And it just depends sometimes on the directors, who they want, what they want. I've gone on calls where they weren't looking for my 5'6" Santa. They were looking for the 6-foot Santa, the big Coca-Cola Santa, that type of thing. And other times I've gone on calls and they were looking for somebody who was skinny. So you never know what the director's looking for.
Tim, you've had a very successful professional Santa career as a major figure at spectacular tree lightings, major events, celebrity parties, featured in so many documentaries, news shows. The list goes on, as millions of children and families have been delighted with appearances from Santa Tim. Tell us, which of these did you learn the most from, and share the top 2 events or so that you had the most enjoy doing, and what made them stand out as special.
Well, one of the things I've found in what I do is to be as natural as I can in dealing with the people and the families. And also, you need to, again, it's very difficult sometimes when you're in the red suit and you're the focus of everything. So we're kind of like peacocks strutting around a little bit. But you sometimes have to really know that it's not always about you. And working with the families, working with the celebrities, real people. I love it when I get to sit there and talk with celebrities and talk with real people, and we talk about real things. It's not always about the work of Santa. It's about our kids, our family, and things like that. It makes it kind of fun. That even though they're a star of a TV show or something like that, we can have fun doing that. And so I think that's an important thing. I have also hired a lot of Santas to work for me in different areas around the country. At one time, I had one Christmas, I had 700 Santas working on a photo project with all the Walmarts and all the Sears stores and things like that. And I had a couple Santas who were prima donnas. I mean, they were given their work assignments, but they weren't going to follow the directions of, what was the assignment to work for me. They were going to do what they thought was right, and the customer didn't want that. The customer already had their plan and what they wanted, and you've got to know what your job is and do your job. And I think that's a key rule for any Santa. And if you can have fun while you're at it, thumbs up.
Exactly.
Very, very nice.
We had spoke earlier about you working with some of the celebrities, and you mentioned that we've lost two here in the last week or so that you've worked with, Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver, and then Olivia Newton-John yesterday, and I know that really is something that touches you in so many ways, especially when you get to know them on a personal level. But it is just
it is unique. Now with Tony Dow and with Jerry Mathers, both of them every year for a couple of years were at the Hollywood Christmas Parade, and we'd all be in the green room, and I'm always the last person down the parade route. So I get to meet all the celebrities up in the green room because they're all waiting for their call to get in their car and go down the parade route. And we would sit there and just have a great time together talking about everything, because we're all the same age group, all in our 70s and having a good time, and of course all the and people are coming up and interrupting me, wanting selfies, and interrupting Jerry and wanting selfies, and so we're all having fun, doing this stuff together, and people will be coming towards us, and we say, okay, who are they going to pick? They want Santa or do they want the beaver? So we would have fun.
Okay, well, let's go back to the beginning a minute. And when you first started, did you feel a sense of being vulnerable? And can you share how you would overcome that and how you would teach people to overcome that feeling?
Well, there's always a little bit of nervousness. Is that what you're talking about? Vulnerable or nervousness?
Yeah.
I think Helen Hayes, great actress, she had a line one time. Somebody asked her about butterflies going on Broadway, going on a stage every night and performing. Do you ever get nervous? And we're always going to have butterflies. We're always going to have some sort of nervousness. I think that if we don't have that type of nervousness, we lose a little bit of our edge in our work. And one of her comments was, the key thing about butterflies is you just need to get them to fly in formation. So you have to have a little bit of focus. You're going to have some nervousness, but part of that also is experience and training. We have a lot of Santas the last couple of years have been going into doing these virtual visits, and some of them are a little nervous about the technology and everything else, and they're not used to it. And I mentioned to them, I said, well, before you go doing a whole bunch of, do a bunch of practice ones. Call your friends and tell them you'd like to do a visit with their grandkids or something. Practice, get used to talking with the kids over the computer and how you do it and everything. And once you've done that a few times, you learn a little bit. You know, one of the key things I do when talking with you guys here is to make sure I'm focused on the camera lens. You know, it's so easy for us when we're using our computers to want to look at the screen down here and forget that the camera's up here. You know, so we have to work on it a little bit, but practice a little bit, and it makes you, you know, you relax more. And of of course, I also have to mention one other thing. Um, I always tell people, all you have to do is drop a nickel, and I start talking. You know, yeah, doesn't take much for me.
Yeah,
Right. I think Bob keeps eyeballs up by his camera.
I do. I have two big eyeballs mounted just above my camera, so it reminds me to look into the camera.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, there are
And I think having a little
lot
bit
of
of
little tricks.
I think having a little bit of butterflies too keeps you on your toes a little bit, makes you be
It
more
gives you,
aware of what's going on and pay attention.
yeah, it's a little bit of the edge, you know, but
Right.
yeah, it does keep you crisp.
Well, I got to say at this point, this is our second season. We're already 32 shows in this year. And in the beginning, I had butterflies, you know, going live, not knowing what to expect. But I think out of this season, tonight was my most nervous going into it, simply because we got the legend Tim Connaghan on, and I was just a little bit nervous going in tonight. You know, you're such a big inspiration to us all.
Well,
What
thank you for having me here. You know, you know, you mentioned at the beginning about being a mentor and things like that. I think it's one of the most difficult things is when you have so many people who have gone through training or been to one of the conventions or anything that I've done. You know, it's hard to be a mentor to all of them. You know, but one of the things I try to tell them is, you know, that hey, I'm only a phone call away. You know, I can't be a full-time mentor, but I'm always available to ask a question, you know, call or text me, you know. If I don't have an answer, I'll call Spangle, he knows.
I'll make I'll make something up. Well, I've always thought I've seen a lot of Tim and Bob, anyways. You know. But anyways,
Well,
in
Bob and I
2000,
Bob and I
go ahead.
go ahead.
In 2011, you were inducted into
Bob
the
and
Santa Claus
I,
Hall of Fame. What an honor it must have been. What tip or advice would you give every Santa and Mrs. Claus that dream of being considered for such an honor? In your opinion, what qualities do the committee look at when considering a nominee? What's your secret
well,
to
I
get
think
in?
the key thing, well, number one, um, don't expect to get in. Do what you do best. Okay. People who are honored for their achievements are honored because of the achievements, because of the things they've done. Um, every once in a while, I'll get a note from somebody who is lobbying to want to be in the Hall of Fame, or they're lobbying to have somebody put into the Hall of Fame. And of course, yes, you can contact the association and let them know. But the thing is they're going to look at all the background and try to pick people, you know, that have qualified for that. You know, I guess at the time I was selected because I was traveling around and doing all the schools, and I was very fortunate those first 10 years of my real bearded Santa to been able to do the TV shows, the commercials, run the Santa school, do the Santa convention, all the crazy things that I did. And again, some of them were just, you know, uh, whims or desires and things that I want to do. I was not looking. In fact, when I started all this stuff, there wasn't even a Hall of Fame, you know. So when it did happen, it was quite an honor. And I think that anybody out there, if you are selected to be in the Hall of Fame, it's really because you have accomplished great things. You've done something very special for our industry, for our fellow Santas, for the families. You know, I mean, the different categories or reasons why people are picked, but you have accomplished something very, very special, and that's why you're invited to be part of this league of special individuals.
Okay, well,
Well,
Bring us here.
that was a quiet dead spot.
Yeah, I got to switch to a different screen. Sorry. Well, Tim, in recent years, your school has been presented on the select Princess cruises in the Caribbean, Alaska, Hawaii, and Europe, and featured on various television shows, including the Travel Channel, which featured the school on Princess Cruise as part of the holiday special. How did this idea of the cruise, including the school, come about, and where you might take the 2023 cruise to an upcoming year? There's a lot there.
Well, when I started teaching my school, I remember that there was a group up in Denver, Colorado, had the Aspen State Teachers College. It was a non-existent college. It was just a bunch of people who skied in Aspen, thought it'd be funny to have their own name school and stuff like that. But one of the things they did is they always went on a cruise together. And I said, that would be kind of neat to do. And I did some checking around and found out, well, there are doctors and lawyers and medical groups and pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies. They all have these cruises where their people all go on the cruises. And of course, they do training while they're on the cruises. And I said, maybe we could do that with some Santas. So after teaching for a couple of years and after the convention in 06, I put the first school together, and it was a lot of fun. And so we just did our 12th school in the Caribbean, first one after COVID. So it was a more compact, small group, only 2 dozen. But next year, we're going to do 2 cruises. Just before COVID, we had 75 Santas and Mrs. Claus signed up to go to the Mediterranean. And that, of course, because of COVID, got canceled. So we're going back to doing that cruise. So that will be next April. And then late May, we're going to do another cruise, which will be the Alaska cruise, which is the most popular. More people want to do that. And when I do the Alaska cruise, the other thing I add to it is, for those who would like to, 4 days before we go on the cruise, we have a special land tour, and we start in Fairbanks, and we have a side trip to the North Pole, where the Santas and Mrs. Claus, who are a part of that group, go to the Santa Claus house. It's run by the Brown family there in North Pole, Alaska, and we actually renew wedding vows in Santa Claus house. So it's kind of a very unique thing. And then we do a little tour of Denali and Fairbanks and Denali. We go to Anchorage, get on the ship, and have a wonderful week's cruise of the glaciers and Ketchikan, Skagway, Juneau. It's a wonderful time.
Well, I know when you do your classes in person, like the classes are like 8 hours, 9 hours long. When they're on the cruise, do they have like the classes shorter and have more days, or how's that work?
Well, no. On the cruise, generally there are 2 days at sea, or 2 days when we're not getting off the ship. So what I do is in the mornings for about 4 hours, 5 hours, I'll do a compressed class. And I do that in 2 days. And then here's another thing I offer everybody going to a cruise. After the cruise, you're most welcome to come to any of my schools that summer around the country and be my guest for the full 2-day school. So in other words, I make it up to them, So a few people do that. We just had our Houston school. One of the Santas that went to the Caribbean came to the Houston school. He's a new Santa, and he wanted to really get all not just the 2 days I had on the ship, or 2 half-day sessions on the ship, but he wanted the 2 full days also that I had in Houston. So it came down to that.
Okay.
Now then, let me make sure I got this straight. 2024, you're planning on going to Alaska cruise?
2023.
2023. I thought you said 24. 24 would be my me and my Mrs. Claus's 50th.
Next April. I think April 15th is our departure date in the Mediterranean. We're going to be leaving from Barcelona, April 15, and it's 2 weeks. You can go on 1 week, or you can go on 2 weeks. Well, while
Do
you're
you
there, you
do
might
the
as well go on
Alaska
2 weeks.
cruise every year?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not. No, I move it around a little bit. We've done Alaska, Hawaii. We've done the Northern European, which was Copenhagen, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Germany, that type of thing. We've done Hawaii. The Hawaii cruise, however, is a little longer cruise because you also have the Pacific from Los Angeles all the way over to Hawaii and back, so a little longer in that sense. The one I've not done yet that some people asked me if I might do is a Panama. But I try to find cruises that started, with the U.S. port if I can, other than the European cruises.
All right,
Okay.
so moving on. Back in 2006, and then 10 years later in 2016, you produced the Discover Santa conventions, which to this day is still the largest gathering of over 1,000 Santas in one place.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any plans to do a 20-year?
I've had a few people ask me about doing that, and it's a very large encumbrance, a lot of work to do, plus my age now being in my 75th year, and I'd like to do it. I think it would be a great thing, a lot of fun. It's just a tremendous amount of work. Plus, since I started doing the convention, there are now 6 other groups doing annual Santa activities, and draw from the audience that we have, and 2 of them are national Santa associations or international, so they have their events going on. So that does draw a lot of it. So I don't know if I will do it or not, but if I do it, I have to do it soon because it's not far away.
How far away?
I'd be
You got to
80
get the
years
ball
old.
rolling. Yeah. Tim, is there anything we didn't cover
Yeah.
that you would like to share with our viewers tonight? Maybe some final thoughts.
The key thing I tell all the Santas is, remember the number one rule is the children. We're there for the children. It's not always about you. I mean, yes, we are, like I said, we dress up fancy. We have all kinds of things. We have, give you an idea, when I got started with the real bearded Santas back in 2000, we didn't have companies like Spangles or Steve Arnold or Tom Quarter, all this paraphernalia and material. It was red Marcells or San Matello a Halco or Ruby suit or whatever. That was it. Now look at all the customizing work and everything else we do. So we have a lot of Santas that are very colorful, and you can have your own personality, be your own type of Santa. But just remember, the number one rule is you are there for the kids.
Great point.
All right. Well, everyone stay with us because it's time for our weekly teaching segment, the POV, the point of view. And this week's point of view, Santa Bob will have the honor, and the segment will be titled The Importance of Having a Mentor or Two to Emulate in Your Portrayal.
All right, so my point of view tonight, the importance of having a mentor or two to emulate in your portrayal. This is something that I took from Tim from his class that I took. How important it is to do all the key things to set yourself up for success. You go to Tim's class, you walk out with confidence, you walk out with the tools to be successful. He lays it all out for you. It's simple and easy. Recently in Branson, a few weeks back, Greg Gilpin, and I know many of you may not know Santa Greg, but he helped design Tim's cover on his book. And I was sitting out in the hallway one afternoon, and Greg came out and asked me if I knew Tim Connaghan. And I said, "Well, of course I do." And he says, he says, out of everyone in this industry that I've seen, you remind me more of Tim than anybody else. And of course, my head swelled 20 times the size it is. I turned red. I blushed from it. And I told him, I said, that's very interesting because when I took Tim's class, me and my wife went to Houston to take Tim's class. And I didn't know Tim. I talked to him on the phone to register for the class, a short phone conversation. We walk into the hotel and Tim was walking towards us. And oh my goodness, he just reeked Santa Claus. He has that look. He carries himself like Santa. He oozes Santa. And I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? I said, if there was ever a real Santa, he is it. That's the man I want to emulate. And I got to say thank you to Tim for everything. He mentioned earlier about answering the telephone for questions. This man will answer or he will call you back. He's the real deal. I've had some great mentors, Gordon Bailey, Stephen Arnold, who was mentioned earlier, Tom Cordemelia, a great mentor, Tim, of course, and one other that I want to mention is Tom Carmody. Thomas Carmody with IBRBS. And at this point, I would just like to say, please keep him in your prayers. He's not doing well. He's back in the hospital today, and he needs our prayers. And that's my point of view for this week. All right, so at this point, let's reveal tonight's trivia answers. Sleigh Driver Apparel, Frank Baum was not only wrote The Wizard of Oz, but also wrote a book about Santa. Named that book. That answer was The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Fantastic book. Tim talked about it back in the green room about how it was different than anything that he had seen written in the Santa world. StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com. Papa Elf told Buddy his mother's name and showed him a picture.
Mom.
What was that?
Mom.
Uh-huh.
Mom.
Oh yeah, Mom. No, that's not what we was looking for, but that would technically be correct. Spangle. What was Buddy the Elf's mother's name? Susan Wells. That was the name that was mentioned in the movie. All right. Do we have any winners?
We have winners.
Okay. Here's our winners. You ready?
Sleigh Driver Apparel is Ray Bradshaw.
Ray Bradshaw gets the Sleigh Driver Apparel trivia question right tonight. Congratulations.
Came out of timeout today.
Just came out of timeout today. Now you're back in timeout, brother.
Okay, and for Stuff for Santa is Melissa Lynn.
Melissa Lynn, Santa Mail, which Tim had mentioned earlier about female Santa portrayers. Santa Mail, one of the best. Absolutely fantastic. All right, fantastic. Spangle, over to you.
Okay, Bob. Well, as we wrap up this week's show and look forward to next Tuesday night, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, gosh, you know me, I'm not a man of many words. But just want to say thank you to Tim. Tim, thank you for sharing your vast years of experience and knowledge. Also, thank you for being such a great guest and sharing so much great information with us all. Keep up the hard work you do for the community. Stay well, my friend. And you just do not know how many lives you have touched and have taught valuable lessons to in this community. I say this all the time. People probably get tired of me saying it, but I put you up here at the very top of the pinnacle when it comes to the Santa Red Suit community.
Thank you so much.
Michael, do you have any final comments or thoughts?
No, just keep Tom Carmody in our prayers. I mean, that's important right now. He needs it.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right, so
Thank you, Tim.
I would say that one of the things you want to do too is that throughout our community, because as I mentioned this in our green room earlier, is we have a large circle of friends, and throughout our industry, we always have just one or two people removed from us are ill or have health problems, and so let's just keep good thoughts for all the fellow Santas and Mrs. Claus in our community.
very true. Tell everyone good night, Spangle.
Good night, Spangle.
All right. A big thank you to Derek Dugan and Sleigh Driver Apparel, also StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com. Our recorded videos can be seen on our Facebook group as well as our YouTube channel at the Tuesday Night Live Show. Remember, folks, we couldn't do this without all of you. Thanks for watching. Remember to join us next Tuesday Night Live each week, 7 p.m. Central, same Claus time, same Claus channel. Count your blessings, not your sorrows. Have a blessed week. Until next time, on behalf of Santa Tim, Spangle, Angela, and myself, I'm Santa Bob McMaster saying good night. Thank you so much. God bless.
Remember, Toys for Tots, 75th anniversary.